So, as I said in the last video, I'm getting a new grinder and it's arrived. So it's a bonus, it came on Tuesday. I've done a small unboxing vid, which will be uploaded in the form of a YouTube short. So I'll post a link to that on the screen somewhere now. So I'm going to give it the first grind on my knife, a rough bevel on a grinder, which should do a better job than the one on the angle. At some point I will do a versus vid of the small grinder and this grinder to see which one I prefer. So right, we'll try and crack on with this knife. Right, so after a little bit of time with the new grinder, got one side of it now, nice straight line. On the other side, I've taken out the bit of damage I caused when I was using the other grinder, grinded all that off, and on the other side, so another nice straight line. What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to drill the holes in the tang for the pins to go in, and then we're going to give it the heat treat. Right, so I'm going to get the forge lit up to run the knife through 3 normalisation cycles. Then after it goes in the forge the 4th time, I'm going to dip it in my quench tank, which is full of oil. I'll post a picture up of why you need to run it through normalisation cycles for the grain of the metal. That picture should come up soon. Then after that, we're going to get it cleaned up and then temper it in the oven. That's the normalisation cycles and the quench done. What I'm going to do now is just get my wire brush on the end of the drill, clean it up a little bit, take the scale off, and then it's going in the oven. Okay, so that's the knife washed and ready to temper. I've put it in a little dish full of salt because salt holds heat really well. So I'm going to be putting it in the oven for 3 1-hour cycles at 200 degrees. Right, going in the oven for the last 1-hour cycle. Heat treat, the quench and the tempering done. So now I'm going to get on the grinder, sander. I'm going to go up the gritter belts from what I've got on, up to the 1000 grit. Taking out all the scratches each time and hopefully clean it up and polish it up slightly, and then we'll see how it looks after we've done that. Right, so I've taken off all the scaling off it from the heat treats, so it's nice and shiny. I'm just going to put the bevels back on it and hopefully get rid of these 2 little marks. Get that on both sides. The bevels are nice and clear, defined. Then we're going to get the belt taken off and put a higher grit one on and take it all the way up to 1000 grit after doing it, after getting rid of some scratches out of it. So that's the plan, so we'll see how it goes. That's the 240 grit just done. Put another belt on now and increase the grit even more. So I've been through all the belts up to 1000 grit on the blade. I've cleaned up all the tang. So now I'm just going to start putting the handle on it. First job putting the handle on it is I'm just going to round off the back end of the tang where the handles are going to sit. Then I'm going to get some wooden scales made out to fit on with some pins. Right, so I've got my knife scales cut out and drilled, ready to go. So I'm going to cut my pins down, I have a bit of rod, hammer it into temporary position before I put it on for epoxy. So there's my knife scales on the pins. I've left the gaps in between at the moment because that's the bits I'm going to fill with epoxy. And then I'm going to clamp it together and leave it in the vise for an hour to dry. So there it is, setting in the vise. It's clamped on either end and clamped in the middle. So the glue's set, and I'm just going to start grinding the pins off nice and easy, and then start on the wood. So that's my handle put on and like grinded into shape slightly. Now I'm just going to get a bit of hand sanding on it, and then I'm looking through my grits of my my handle so far up to now. So on the handle so far up to now, I've gone up to about a 2000 grit sandpaper, so it's polishing up nicely. So while I was inside getting my wax, I just had a delivery from Amazon. It's some new grinding belts for this bad boy, because my next video is going to be a comparison between both my grinders now and see which one I prefer and the pros and cons, what I find for each of them. So I've got my finishing wax. I'm just going to open it up, get a bit on a bit of cloth and rub it into the handle. So I've just taken it up to the 7000 grit, give it a couple of goes over with that. So I've sacked off the finishing wax because it's a matte coat. I didn't realise to start with. Should have read it a little bit better. So I've gone out and I've got some finishing wax. So hopefully that's going to be a bit better. So I'm going to sand off the handle again, take off all the other wax I've put on, clean it up a bit, and then I'm going to put some of this wax on and hopefully shine that up and see what that looks like. And I've also got a whetstone now, so I'm going to sharpen the blade up after I've done the handle. That's the knife up close, so just polishing it up slightly. Right, so I've got a little bit of paper. We'll see if we can just cut a few slices in it, just nice and gently. So I'm quite happy with that. Nice straight cuts. So it seems to be pretty sharp. So that is probably the third knife I've ever made. So I'm quite happy with that. This knife is going to be given to another channel, Gardening with Ben, as a pruning knife, so you can use it on his allotments because he's into all his gardening stuff, and he was one of my first subscribers, so I thought why not return the favour, make him a nice little pruning knife. So thanks for watching that. If you enjoyed that journey to make my first stalk removal knife, which probably took me altogether about 10 hours, when I had to overcome some hurdles and issues that I never expected. So I'm quite happy to have done all that and learn how to do it. I've got another couple of projects coming up, which is making knives. I'm making a Friende drop point, like a camp knife with a Scandi grind. I didn't know what Scandi grind was until I've researched it. And I want to make myself a Tanto as well. That's like the smallest one of the. If you get a set for the samurai swords, you get the huge one at the top, the katana, and you get the middle one, and the smallest one is a Tanto. So they're my next two knives that I'm going to be making. So if you want to see them, give me a subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.